On this episode of Jerks Talk Games, we talk about how we like to watch people play games on the internet. It's not creepy. Welcome to Jerks Talk Games, a podcast where two PHP programmers talk about games and other things that they love. And my name is Chris Tankersley, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Gary Hockin.
Happy May the 4th day, Chris.
It's my dog's birthday today.
Congratulations. That's a much more reason to celebrate than a very, very close proximity to a line that was said in a film once. Yeah.
Well, we picked it because it's a Star Wars reference, but we don't know when the dog was actually born because he was a rescue, so we just decided it's May the 4th. So we're celebrating my dog's birthday today. He gets bacon for dinner.
I refer you to my tweet from 5 hours ago when you were fast asleep in bed. Check it out after the podcast. That's all I have to say about that.
Was that the dancing Ewoks? Or was that someone else?
I tell you what, I will read it. Ha 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 ha! Today's date sounds a bit like a phrase from a famous film. It's hilarious! Quick, make marketing images around it and post shit puns to Twitter.
So the post later today needs to be somehow Star Wars related. Got
it. Anyway.
I will schedule it when we're done.
So yeah, what have you been up to since we last recorded only 2 weeks ago? We are 3 from 3 in not putting off recording episodes, which I'm quite pleased with.
Yes, we've managed to actually keep a consistent schedule. Along those same veins, I'm attempting to make my job keep a consistent schedule when it comes to releases. So I've been playing the jerk at work constantly. You know, like, okay, our sprint's done. Do the testing. I'm not letting anything go in. So I get to play the hard ass this week. Thankfully, I only have 2 issues left that need to be cleared, and we can go back to the next sprint. So other than that, I finally have decided to actually buy a real monitor stand instead of have my monitor stacked up on VHS tapes to line everything up.
VHS tapes, even. I like
they work really well because I'm not using them for anything else.
No,
and it actually leveled them out perfectly. So I'm excited to get those later today because that's the excitement level of my life. I'm excited to get VESA mounts and a monitor stand.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It is. I write it off as a business expense. So
you should.
Wonderful. Game-wise, I have just got sucked into Data 4 and have been playing that pretty much since it came out. I actually went and got it day of release and have really, really enjoyed it so far.
So I've heard nothing but amazing things about God of War, or Dad of War, whatever you want to call it. It's totally up to you. Yeah,
it's just hours of Kratos screaming "boy" over and over.
So this is the usual statement from me. I have not played it or watched anything about it or seen anything about it or have any idea what type of game it is. Like, is it? I'm guessing it's a third person type cutty slashy shooty thing, but I have no clue.
Yeah, it's a third-person action game. It's similar to how the PS2 and I can't remember if they did actual PS3 ones or just remasters, where you're just constantly killing hordes of enemies. It's a little bit more focused. It feels much more like the new Tomb Raider games, where you're getting 5 or 6 enemies at a time, and that's about it. Most of the times, it's groups of 3 or 4. And it's a really close over-the-camera angle instead of the old games where, like, if you were on a big battlefield, the camera would zoom out and you would see everybody at once. So it's a little bit more intimate of a game than the previous versions. But otherwise, it's a standard third-person action game like Uncharted or Tomb Raider.
Cool.
So it's, instead of being Greek mythology, it's Norse mythology, which I haven't gotten far enough in the story yet to find out exactly why, but it's an amazing game, I think, so far. Visually, it's probably one of the best PS4 games. And I don't even have a 4K TV or like a PS4 Pro.
Yep.
And I think, like we said in the Bloodborne episode, the PS4 can crank out some excellent graphics. And the writing's really good too, so the story is really, really interesting. It's not just kill all the gods so far. It will probably get to that point because that's what Kratos tends to do. But
I mean, I've heard and read nothing but awesome reviews and good things. Let's just say, yeah.
So I would heartily recommend picking it up, even full price. I am really super happy with it.
It's a hearty endorsement. So yeah, I might do. I'm busy for the next few weeks, so I'll wait until I've got maybe a little bit of a time. I'm in a conference for the first time in a long time in a fortnight's time. So next episode will be delayed. I'm in Istanbul for PHP Conf there, so looking forward to that.
Are you keynoting that?
Of course I am.
Look at you, keynoter.
I only keynote these days. I don't get out of bed for regular talks. It's fine. No, of course not. Of course that's not true. This is a commitment from back when I was obviously doing speaking as a living rather than developing.
A real programmer?
Yep. So I'm doing tons of real coding now. I absolutely love being back there. Sadly, it's all with JavaScript, but, I'm actually enjoying it. I mean, it's this combination of tools that I would never have wanted to use before I started using them, which is JavaScript and AWS. So AWS Lambdas, which are really cool, function as a service type geeky stuff. If you're only listening for the games, sorry. They're amazing, but, it's the same problem. Writing the JavaScript to run the function is the easy part. Allowing the function to have the permissions to interact with the rest of the infrastructure is where you want to tear your own hair out if either of us had hair. So, yes. Good fun.
Thankfully, I don't have to deal with the Lambda stuff at work.
Good fun.
We have a guy who handles all the AWS stuff, so I just build servers and then get angry when the serverless stuff doesn't work. So.
It's really cool. I'm really honestly getting sucked into that world. I love it. I absolutely can see how this is a really cool way to build stuff, but it's completely different from the PHP land. I mean, coming from a shared nothing architecture to working with Lambdas is great, right? Because that is, you're already prepped for that stuff. So it's really good.
Well, and there's some workloads that work way better than, a daemon sitting on a box.
Correct.
Just waiting for stuff to come in, so.
But aside from that, I've been playing a lot of pool, back to playing competitive pool, enjoying that. And games-wise, I finished Far Cry 5 and I loved it. I don't know if I talked about this last episode.
How was the ending? I heard some people complain about it.
Loads. I can imagine people would complain about it. But I really thought... it made perfect sense to me. That I don't know if that's because I have the mind of a pseudo-religious cult leader, or if, it's just other people didn't get the ending. I don't know, but I loved it. I really liked the ending. I thought it was, it made sense. It was cool. Yeah, I loved it.
I like that the game ends when the story ends. Like, there's no... They don't dump you back in the sandbox world. No, you're done. The game's over, you're done. They give you plenty of warning to say, look, when you start this mission, this is it. So you don't have to do that, and you can go back and complete all the missions or whatever. But I would definitely play again. I'll wait until it comes down in price and play through a co-op run with somebody, because it was that good. I really enjoyed it. Speaking of which, that's why I'm playing Far Cry 4 now, is because I checked the price and I could pick that up for $10. So it was like, a friend of mine had bought it like the opposite of what I've done and wanted to play a co-op run through, and I was like, I don't mind paying $10 for that. So we've been starting to play through that. Loads more Slay the Spire. The third character dropped on beta, so been playing tons of that. Great fun. And a weird game that is like a cross between Terraria and Diablo, called it Lurks Below, which I picked up in early access for cheap as chips, which I'm really enjoying, playing that with my little girl now and again. So yeah, I haven't played that much. That makes it sound like I've played tons in the last fortnight, but realistically I haven't managed to play that much. Maybe 3 or 4 hours of Far Cry 4, couple of hours to Far Cry 5 to finish it, and then the odd good thing about Slay the Spire is you just fit a hand in whenever you want, right? It's great. Yeah, and that's actually one nice thing about God of War. Like, you can sit down, play it for 5-10 minutes. The checkpoints are so quick in succession that you don't really lose much if you just like this morning I sat down and played it for about 10 minutes, killed a couple boss rooms, and then went on.
All good.
But yeah, so that's what we've been playing. So let's talk about what we like to watch. So I know, Gary, you watch quite a bit of Twitch.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm the opposite. I watch quite a bit of YouTube. So what exactly makes a game good to watch is our question this episode. So, Gary, what do you think makes a game good to watch?
So, before I answer that question, it's like watching people play computer games seems to be in like a massive boom at the moment. You know,
that's because we're all getting older and we don't want to watch television.
It's true. So there is something like I watch tons of Twitch and tons of YouTube. Like I could have a Twitch stream on while I'm working from home, which I'm not even watching. I'm listening to be honest. You know, and I could do that all day. If somebody streams for 7 hours and I'm working, I could just leave it on and maybe glance up now and again. But I don't know. But it's weird because my kids watch far more. Sorry, my eldest daughter doesn't, but my youngest daughter watches far more YouTube than me. Like she will watch random people playing Minecraft or Roblox for as long as I would physically let her, but she doesn't watch a lot of TV, so that does seem to have replaced TV for her. They absolutely love it.
My kids have not grown up with the idea that you watch television on television. Not for anything that we do, but they've always had tablets and or laptops. So like they would, if they want to look up something, they would go to YouTube, look it up, and then they will watch YouTube all day. Like we don't have televisions in their room, not because I don't want them to watch TV. I mean, I grew up with a television in my room and look how I turned out. But they'll watch YouTube all day, and I can't fault them for anything because I only watch a handful of actual television shows. Mostly I have cable for wrestling because I want to watch it live. And I love Impractical Jokers on True TV, and we like some of the stuff on Cartoon Network. Yep. That's about the only thing I watch. Otherwise, my PlayStation is on, and it's probably has YouTube on it right now because I'm pretty sure I didn't turn it off. And that's how they consume what they want to watch. Like it's much nicer to be able to sit down and watch what you want. And then especially with me, I love video games. I love wrestling. I can watch the stuff I want whenever I want on YouTube.
Yep.
You know, Twitch is great for kind of that background noise for me. I generally don't watch Twitch to like be like, ooh, my favorite streamer's on right now. I gotta catch them. It's more of I'm working right now, or I just want background noise on, and I use it like what I used to use cable for.
It's crazy. Like the TV is just the big shared tablet in one room for when multiple people want to watch the same thing at the same time. Like
yes.
That's effectively what it's turning into, right?
And for movies,
and for movies, yeah.
The only time we ever get to, we only ever sit down when there's like a brand new Teen Titans on and we all want to watch it, or like new Steven Universe, or we're sitting down to watch a movie. That's about it. Otherwise, it's someone's just themselves sitting in front of a TV because they didn't want to watch it on a tablet. Like, I don't like watching YouTube on my phone or my tablet. I want to watch it on a TV.
Yeah, I watch a lot. So yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube on my phone. To be honest, I do watch a lot of YouTube on my phone. It's kind of what I'll watch to drop off to sleep at night. It's kind of replaced reading a book for me, which is actually quite sad when I think of that. That makes me feel quite sad. But yeah, what makes a game good to watch? For me, it needs to be a game that has narrative, and I don't mean it needs to have narrative as in a plot and lore and it the game has a good story. I mean, what I'm watching, the chunk that I'm watching needs to have a good story. In the same way that when we talk about public speaking, we say, oh yeah, make sure your talk has a good story or narrative. I feel like one of the reasons I love watching PUBG, and I will watch PUBG videos, streamers more than videos, is because each game has this unique, each round or game has this sort of unique narrative, right? Where are they going to loot well? Are they not going to loot well? Are they going to make it out of wherever they land? Or are they going to, try hard and land somewhere quiet? And then how's it going to go mid-game? What's going to happen when the circle shrinks? Are they going to have good circles or bad circles? And these things, for the same way as traditional sports the best sports I like to watch have lots of tension that builds. I feel the same way about when I watch computer games. I like to watch games that have a narrative and have points of tension that builds rather than it's just surprise and then boom, it's gone. So I love that. Hypocritically, I also like stuff where there's totally no plot, like Minecraft. So the thing about...
Well, I think with games like Minecraft, though, like at least for me, I like watching those, but the game doesn't make the plot.
No.
The people that play it.
So I think I totally agree. I think that's a point. That's a really valid point. I like watching certain games, but I also like watching certain people, regardless of what they play, or not regardless, but. You know, there's certain people who I love watching them play, but I wouldn't watch them play in certain games because I don't really enjoy the game. But I pretty much watch them play anything else. But yeah, I think the Battle Royale genre, the reason it's taken off so well with things like PUBG and Fortnite is because it's incredibly well designed from a watching perspective, whether that's by pure luck or by design, I don't know. But it's a really, really watchable format, right?
Which I think they found the Battle Royale system, I think, is the best spectator game to watch. Because this is actually a problem like ESPN and stuff are having because they want to get into the esports genre and show it. But like I have tried to watch like them do StarCraft games. And I'm not a big StarCraft person, so it's hard to follow what's going on, or like Dota tournaments or things like that. If you're not invested in those games, it's really hard to know what is going on, who's doing what strategy is going on. And while a commentator can be really, really good and help, the games are still visually hard to watch. But anybody can sit down and play and watch PUBG or Fortnite and instantly know what's going on. And there's none of this, like, I have to be 100% invested in this game to just watch someone else play. It kind of sucks, but it's like watching Magic the Gathering tournaments. If you don't know how to play Magic the Gathering, it's completely boring.
Yeah.
Whether or not you like other card games, like, it's completely boring. I can't watch Pokemon tournaments. Not because I hate Pokemon, like, our kids and stuff, you know, I play it with our kids, but I'm not invested in the game, so I don't know a lot of the strategies that they're going to use.
Yeah.
But I can sit down and watch Fortnite because those 10-minute chunks are really easy to digest and figure out what's going on. And it's a basic premise, just kill either your team just needs to win. Like, that's a really easy premise to wrap your head around.
There's not much of a metagame involved, right, in most of these battle royales. I wouldn't say there's no metagame, but there's Fortnite I find difficult to watch because of the whole building thing. I don't get that. I can't play it because of the building thing, because I haven't got the patience to practice that and to learn it, and therefore I can't watch it for similar reasons, to be honest. But yeah, I really still, to this day, love... I don't play a lot of PUBG anymore, but the odd game or the odd a couple of hours, but I love watching it. I probably watched it like 300 times more than I've played it in the last... Oh,
I'm the same way with Fortnite. Like, I like Fortnite, but I will watch it probably more than sit down and play it.
It's just so watchable. It's just unbelievable how... And again, I think that's because no two games are the same. But also, yeah, you don't need to be invested. And again, there is a narrative to each game. Like, oh, I got sniped from across the map. And I'm like, oh yeah, you should have checked there. Yeah. Or, oh, look, I managed to snipe that guy across the map. You know, these games are really good to watch. It's really interesting to me. I think you hit the nail on the head. I'll watch lots of different people playing PUBG, but with regards to the other games I like to watch, that's more about the character of the person who's streaming it or recording it. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this is why I still like YouTube better than Twitch, like, from just a media consumption standpoint. I can, and I mean, you can do this on Twitch too, but like, I can sit down and I have 30 or 40 people that I'm subscribed to on YouTube. I don't watch all of them, but there's probably 5 or 6 that I watch all the time. and I'll go in and like I'm looking at the subscribe list, like I did this morning when I dropped the kids off at school, popped up YouTube, like what videos have come out since yesterday, and I will consistently probably watch things like Nerd Cubed, Many a True Nerd, some of the Yogs Cast, Game Grumps. Game Grumps less than I used to, but like the other three, generally whatever they're playing, I will watch because I like those personalities than necessarily the game that they're playing. I mean, Many a True Nerd and Nerd Cube, like I love just about everything that they do. But if I find a game boring, like I'm not gonna watch it. Like I really don't like right now Many a True Nerd's doing what is it called? Britannia, one of the Total War games, one of the new Total War games. I don't really like that game, so I'm not watching it, but I will watch. I've watched through every single one of his Fallout games that he's played. Watched a ton of the Nerd Cubed, just because he does random videos as opposed to like big giant series. Sit down and watch those. Like I love those, and like some of the Yogs Cast, especially like when they play Trouble in Terrorist Town or the GTA 5 maps. I don't like to play Trouble in Terrorist Town. Like I think Gary's mod is just completely stupid and broken in horrible ways. But they make that game fun, and I love to sit down and watch those. But then like Game Grumps, like I love most of the Game Grumps episodes, but there's some where like it can be really hit or miss, I find. So like I like them, and they can make a bad game very enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I don't like most of the games that they play because they're doing it mostly. They're picking games that are easy to frustrate, one of the hosts, which gets old after a while. But sometimes it's just comedic gold. But I will generally watch those no matter what they're playing. Versus like this random person's playing Fortnite, I'm going to watch them, or this random person's playing Tropico, I'm going to watch them. I don't like that on Twitch. I can't tell how good a person is until I've watched them. And
no, that's fair.
People streaming on Twitch tend to have various levels of quality, and like especially for me, like this is why I don't listen to like a ton of podcasts. Audio quality, if it's bad, just annoys the shit out of me. Like I can't listen to something or watch something if the audio quality is bad, or they're talking really super quiet, or they don't have a voice for audio. So, like, the people that I tend to watch on YouTube tend to have a little bit more professional... They tend to have their shit together more than random streamer, douchebro35 on Twitch who's streaming PUBG.
I mean, and to be fair, like, I don't tend to watch just, like, random streamers.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to watch the biggest name I watch, which people who watch PUBG or Fortnite will know, Dr. Disrespect. That I watch that quite a lot because that's massively entertaining. But
it's not just him sitting in front of a camera playing a game for 8 hours. Like, he makes it entertaining. Like I think the most boring person that I watch is Dan's Gaming. Because he tends to play a lot of games that I like to play.
Yeah.
And he's interesting enough to watch, but he's not the most charismatic person. Like, I like to watch people that are charismatic, but not so over the top. That, you got the big sunglasses and the funny hair and stuff.
Yeah, but the difference there is that Dr. Disrespect is also a very, very good.
He's a very good
first-person shooter, right?
Yes.
So the character is, as well as the high gaming ability, and also so the reason I like it is I like the over-the-top character. That you can. I'm sure you can understand that appeals to me, Chris. Right? Knowing me, that is, I can totally get that. But also, he's a very good gamer. But also, the production quality for a live stream is, I would say, the best I've seen on Twitch.
Yes.
For an individual.
He's one of those people that has. He's one of those people that has his shit together. Like, you can tell he's investing time in this. he's not doing it just as a money grab to play video games on the internet and get paid for it.
So an example is when he gets in on a motorbike, he'll transition into his webcam in the corners on a motorbike, and as he's turning, he's kind of leaning on the bike, and I kind of like all that stuff. He plays as RoboDoc now and again, which is I don't know how he's done that, but his avatar will become a robot with motion capture. So as he moves his head round the robot, and as he's speaking, he's digitized his voice a bit to be more robotic, and the robot on screen is opening and closing its mouth. And this is an individual who's, I mean, I know they make a lot of money, these top tier Twitch streamers, and he's up there in the top 5 of Twitch, I would guess. I know they make a ton of money from donations, sponsorships, and subscriptions from Twitch and all that. But I love watching that, but I wouldn't really watch if he was playing Fortnite, to be honest, because I wouldn't see the appeal of watching somebody playing Fortnite live. Whereas if he's playing PUBG, or he played an early access battle royale game called Radical Heights the other day, which looks really cool. I watched that stuff.
Yeah, that's the one that's like it's like an 80s
it's
game show kind of thing.
Just like a perfect fit for Dr. Disrespect, right? He plays this kind of 80s based character with the mullet and the glasses. So and then he's playing this 80s based game. So that it was cool, but I wouldn't watch him playing anything. That's the difference. There's a handful of streamers I'll watch if they go live, if they're playing the right game. I wouldn't just go, oh, do you know what? I fancy watching some PUBG. I'll just click on a random, streaming.
Yeah,
on Twitch,
I can't do that. I've got like 10 people or so that I follow on Twitch, and I'm much more selective about what I watch on there because I want the quality of the experience to be good, but then too, like, because it's kind of live-ish. Like, you can go back and watch the videos.
Yeah.
But I want to watch them live. And there's a lot of times, like, I'll look at Twitch and be like, I have everybody that I watch is streaming, but none of those games are interesting. I'm going to go watch something else.
But I do tend to watch a lot of the stuff on VOD as well, because I don't really use the chat or any of the donation systems or whatever. I absolutely subscribe to a few Twitch streamers that I watch a lot, because I have no problem paying $5 a month for content that, probably I should subscribe at a higher tier for the amount of time and enjoyment I get out of their content. I'm not the kind of person who minds paying for the stuff that I consume. That's the way that I am. In fact, I feel like you should pay for the stuff you consume. Whether it's in ad,
if you get enjoyment out of something, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, all you listeners.
No. Should. I think in which case we are the ones who should pay for this, because we are the only ones who enjoy it. So that's fine.
No, I mean, if someone's providing enjoyment, you should find a way to pay for it. Be it subscribe to them on Twitch, donate to them on Patreon, or subscribe to them on Patreon, send them a donation, whatever. Like my wife and I just had this conversation with actually about Fortnite, where my kids want to buy V-Bucks and stuff for those, which is the in-game currency. Knowing how much time they put in the game, I'm okay buying, $10 a month for that, for the kids, than $10 a month for something like Dragon City, where they're buying gems and the gems are instantly consumed. My kid gets the battle pass, and he will spend, which I think just came out like Tuesday, he will spend the next week and a half playing Fortnite and getting his $10 worth out of it.
Absolutely.
I think the same thing goes for streamers. Like, there's a couple podcasts that I do on Patreon, because I listen to them all the time, and they deserve to be paid for the enjoyment that I'm getting out of all of that. So,
which is why we need to get to, actually start producing content that people will pay for, rather than just rambling shit that we do every week. So we're shuttering this podcast and moving on to something that people actually want to listen to. That's fine. Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. And yeah, I agree. And moving on, because this is a point that I actually found really, really interesting. I was looking earlier on to see what the top streaming games are over both. Sorry, this isn't the top streaming games. The top watched games over both. Mm-hmm. So this is the most monthly hours of content watched on Twitch and YouTube combined. So this list is the number of hours consumed effectively on either platform. And interestingly for me, the number of games on this top 10 list, which I'll run through, which are free to play, that I'm really, I don't know what the word is. I'm intrigued, I guess, is the word. Because, so the top 10 list for you to know is Fortnite, League of Legends, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Hearthstone, Dota 2, Overwatch, CSGO, God of War, so this was for April, World of Warcraft, and GTA 5. So the God of War, okay, I'm hardly surprised that's on there, given that it only just released in mid to end of April.
Yeah, so you still have a lot of people streaming that just because it just came out.
And
it was,
and a lot of people would watch it
2
as well, right?
weeks ago, I think.
So when it's brand new, a lot of people will stream it, and also a lot of people would watch it because, what's this game all about? And it's brand new, and it's new and happy.
Should I go spend $60 on this? So, yes, you should go spend $60 on this.
So I totally understand there being a lot of video and stream views of God of War. But looking at that list, like Fortnite, free to play, League of Legends, free to play, Hearthstone, free to play, Dota 2, free to play. I think those 4 out of the top 6 are the only free to play ones, right? The top 10.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, because CS:GO you still have to pay for, but it's like I'm pretty sure at this point it's just 50 cents.
Yeah, and then WoW and GTA 5, and PUBG are paid games. So Overwatch is a paid game too, I believe. That's Overwatch.
Overwatch is a paid game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's still intriguing to me because I always thought that. One of the reasons I hated playing Fortnite was I felt like there was a ton of hackers on there because it's free to play, and therefore if you're banned, just create a new account and go again, So it's interesting. The other thing,
which is ironic because Epic does a ton of stuff to do that, and since PUBG came out on mobile, that is the one that has all the bots and stuff on it now.
Yes, but.
But I get it. Yeah, well, a free to play game you associate more with people trying to cheat than.
I think it's because I've always thought of free to play games as a money grab. Ironically, which sounds weird when you just hear it being said like that. But typically, free to play games will try their best to get more money out of you than games that you pay an upfront fee for. So.
I mean, it's hard to not have that cynicism with it because so many game execs have talked about how they are not monetizing games enough. Like, I really want Red Dead Redemption 2 to be an awesome game, but there have been people high up in Rockstar that have talked about how they are not pushing enough microtransactions in games. And, I mean, we hit a tipping point with Battlefront 2 and one of the other games that I can't remember what it was. Shadow of War. They're pulling loot boxes out of Shadow of War because people are not liking the microtransactions. The games that work, though, I think take the appropriate steps to make sure that it's not a play-to-win game. So, like Fortnite, there's nothing you can buy in Fortnite that will make you play the game better.
No.
It's all skins, it's all emotes, stuff like that.
Yep.
League of Legends, I'm pretty sure is the same way. Hearthstone, you pretty much have to pay to win. I looked up the math one time. Like, if you don't pay for packs, the chances that you'll get good cards, because you have to buy so many packs before you get good cards, is astronomical. Like, you have to buy packs every so often anyway. But it's not a... I'm not dumping hundreds of dollars into those games. But the games that are on this list, I think, have that fine balance of, if I don't pay for anything, I can still get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I think Hearthstone is on there because people who play Hearthstone a bit are interested in seeing how the game is played when you have spent $1,000 on cards. It's
like watching Magic the Gathering tournaments. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a difference there between this is how I can play, but the game is totally different when you've put 1,000 hours and $1,000 in. Like, the decks are so different that it's really intriguing to see how other people play. Exactly like you said about Magic the Gathering. Yeah. People love watching Magic to see how decks that aren't theirs can be played. So I understand that. The other interesting thing here is that there's a strong esports ethos around some of those games in the top 10. So League of Legends, I know, has a huge esports community around it with lots of well-paid tournaments. Dota 2, the same. Interesting that both of those are
and Overwatch and CS:GO.
Yeah, but
Blizzard is,
and also World of Warcraft actually has a huge esports following. So
WoW?
Yeah, the PvP stuff, the arena stuff. The arena stuff is still huge in WoW. I did actually do minor amounts of research.
I was thinking, why would anybody want to watch someone just play an MMO? That seems boring to me. But the arena stuff makes much more sense.
And also, obviously, people like to watch the high level raids. Going back to raiding in any MMORPG is a massive time sink. Where I've only ever played one game, where I consistently raided regularly with a guild, and that was EverQuest 2. That's how long ago this was. I was single. I was living on my own, so the fact that I could commit 6 hours a day between, midnight and, probably wasn't that, 10 and 4 a.m. 3 times a week was no big, stroke. Obviously, as soon as you become a family, a member of a family, you have kids and a spouse, that really is a problem. So I can understand why watching replays of raids would scratch the itch of somebody who can no longer raid. I get that, I guess.
With that, I guess that makes much more sense, because that was why I loved Final Fantasy XI, because you could play, because back then, I didn't have a consistent schedule, so if I wasn't working in the morning, I could hop on, play with Japanese players, because you couldn't voice chat, it was all through preset stuff, and it would translate it as I went through. You could play with a bunch of Japanese people who were in their evening, and I could play raids in Final Fantasy XI until I went to work at 2 in the afternoon because I was working closed, or whatever.
Yeah.
Had I had Twitch or YouTube where I could actually sit down and watch how these raids work, I probably would have spent a ton of time actually watching those, because I invested a lot of time in Final Fantasy XI guilds.
I invested way too much time in EverQuest 2 when I look back. That. There's probably 3 games that is scary for me to look back at how many hours I put in, and Star Wars Galaxies is definitely one of those. EverQuest 2 and the later Warhammer War, is it? The Warhammer Online game, the one that was out 10 years ago, the first Warhammer Online game.
I don't remember.
Yeah, oh god, I can't remember the name of that game, that's how bad it is. But yeah, I spent so much time playing EverQuest 2. That it was one of those where the guild where you had to you couldn't even bid on loot for the first 10 raids you did, let alone be able to do anything else. So woe betide you miss a raid or you lose bidding points, and Jesus, screw that these days. I just couldn't do it. So yeah, I get that. GTA 5, I guess, is the online game as well. I don't suppose people are watching. A lot of people.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah. They don't put any money in the single player game anymore now. It's all online, and a lot of it is watching races and the jobs.
Sorry, did you say races or racists? I couldn't.
A little bit of both sometimes.
Okay.
On GTA 5.
Okay. Cool.
No, so there's a huge race mechanic in the game, and battle mechanic in the game, where people will make their own maps and do that stuff. So some of the races are pretty cool. They've got a bunch of automatic races and weapon based races, and they're fun to watch. And they keep pumping stuff into the online to get people to continue to do that. I can't imagine anybody's actually watching the single player playthrough at this point now that it's
no, unless it was.
How long has this game been out now?
Unless it was one of your favorite YouTubers who decided to play through again, I guess you might watch it then.
Still, even then, most YouTubers are playing online.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing a single player campaign run through, and there is no DLC for this game, single player wise. So once the original campaign's done, you're done.
Yeah.
There's really no replayability except for online, and the online is such a shithole. I don't want to actually play it. I will watch it, but I'm never actually going to play it.
I've never actually played it. I mean, I've played through the GTA 5 campaign, which I thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, I think I bought my PS4 just to play GTA 5. Actually,
I mean, I have bought GTA 5 3 times now.
Yeah, it is one of those games, right?
Yeah, well, I bought it on PS3 when it came out. Then I bought it on PS4 when it came out on there because it looked nicer.
Yeah.
And then I bought it on computer before I switched to Linux so I could play online because there's much more PC players than PS4 players. And at that point, I decided I hate playing this game online, so it's no real big loss that I can't play it on computer anymore.
Yeah, and so going back to the top watched games, the other 2 games that we haven't mentioned, which would be Overwatch and CS:GO. I mean, obviously CS:GO has been around
forever,
for absolute ever, and I find that an incredibly jarring game to watch. Because if somebody's using the sniper rifle, the game has been around for so long, nobody zooms in for any length of time, right? They just zoom in enough to fire. You know, it's really sort of disjointed game to watch. But on the other hand, the maps have been around for so long that if you've watched any kind of esport type CS, you're going to be familiar with the choke points and where the people are going to come coming from. And, you know, I can see why people still watch that. And Overwatch, I don't know enough about Overwatch, but I know that it's got an esport following as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like CS:GO. Once you understand the maps and you understand the different characters, like I feel like it's a mixture between CS:GO and something like League of Legends, where you have your different powers. So you group your teams together based on that. But again, it comes down to skill versus this player spent more money than the other player. So you feel like you can actually get into the game and play. Like I could go buy it today, and I could be semi-competitive knowing that I can play a first-person shooter and get enjoyment out of it, versus like I'm not some sort of major league gamer that I'm never going to get any fun out of this game. And it's easy enough to sit and watch from a spectator because it's just 2 teams shooting each other. It's not super complicated I feel like League of Legends or Dota is to watch, where you have to know all the choke points and all the individual powers and stuff. You can just sit down and kind of watch it, kind of like you'd watch a football game, where I know that here's the 2 teams.
Yeah,
I know they're contesting over this area, and then kind of go from there.
It's interesting to me. What's particularly interesting to me is so League of Legends and Dota, the MOBAs, are stuff that I wouldn't ever watch, but they have a really strong esports background. League of Legends is arguably the most popular esport around at the moment. Depending on,
I would say that or Overwatch. Yeah,
it totally depending on which website you go to, right? Because this is all. I mean, there's no actual consolidated figures across platforms, but it's incredible to think that the top two of the top 3 games there are games that effectively have no esports or competitive play. Which is,
like we said, they're easy to watch.
Yeah, they are. They're so entertaining, right?
That's really coming into it. I think, especially with Fortnite, you have like Twitch. I would say up until the last couple of years has mostly been dominated by older watchers, like people our age or like late 20s, versus now, because like with Fortnite, that's very accessible for a kid, like a younger person to play.
Yeah,
they're now getting into that, and we're going to start seeing some of those games pop back up to kind of the top watch.
Yeah, that's a mugs game though, right? Why would anyone stream to try and gain an audience of annoying kids? Like
parents' credit cards.
But you have to put up with annoying kids. Just go for the right demographic.
It's like us. We're not watching the chat. Not that there is a chat, but like we're not watching the chat right now. We're raking in the non-donations.
Just go for the people who have disposable income and won't be really, really annoying in chat trying to get you to say their name live on your stream. That
right.
That's the part of streaming that drives me up the wall. That's why YouTube wins often for me, is because I hate the whole meta is the wrong word, but I hate the whole audience participation part of streaming.
Yeah, I mean this is veering slightly off topic, but like if you watch NXT, like that is the definition of a shitty audience, because they're trying to get themselves over and watched more than the actual thing that's going on. And there are some, like I love watching Sips from Yoggcast, his videos, but his chat tends to be really super annoying because they are, like, he has this thing where if you do a donation, like, a robot voice will read out a message.
Yeah.
And so they're constantly trying to spam that, which makes them a lot of money, but it's really fucking annoying as a watcher to have to listen to that while he's talking and then to get interrupted with that, or like to sit and watch the chat go with just, like, I love a good meme, but
yeah.
some of these people are just ramming these things into the ground left and right.
I can never watch a stream with the chat on, so I'll only see whatever gets read out, and
yeah.
And I understand. So I watch some big streamers like Dr. Disrespect. I also watch some smaller, more niche content. One of my favorites is a guy called Iskal, a Swedish guy, and yeah, people will be reading it. He'll be reading out his donations. That's more a Minecraft streamer, which I really like. He plays a lot of modded Minecraft, which I like the modded Minecraft. All the stuff around the automation intrigues me. The kind of 3D factorial stuff when you link a lot of those mods together. I that stuff is interesting to me. And it just drives. I understand. The guy needs to make a living, right? He's a professional YouTube content creator, stroke streamer. I totally get that he needs to make a living. But when people pay like $2 to have him read a message out on screen, I'm like, oh, Jesus, set a minimum. If you're gonna, give us a break. But yeah, it doesn't, it isn't. I don't suppose it bothers me so much as it just gets annoying.
I think it depends on how it's done. So like someone like Quill18, like he will read it out when he gets to a point where he can read it out. He doesn't let it interrupt what he's doing necessarily. Which is one of the reasons why I think I can digest him a little bit more. Like his live stream stuff as opposed to like his YouTube stuff is perfectly fine. But like the Twitch stuff, he controls that I think much better than some of the other people out there. Like it's not flashy overlays with like stuff popping in and out all the time. And like I'm here to watch someone play a game, not to see shit pop up on the screen every 5 seconds. Like that gets in the way of my ability to actually watch and enjoy this.
I agree. I think that covers everything I had to say. Is there anything?
Okay. No, I think we just decided that Fortnite is the best game to watch.
No, I think PUBG. I think. I think let's just say we decided that Battle Royale games are the best games to watch, and then we can leave it at that.
There we go from there. And enjoyable people.
Too. Yes,
like,
yes.
I think for me, that's the big thing. If you're boring, it doesn't matter how good the game is. I'm not going to watch you.
I agree.
As a side note, so like one thing I love to watch, and when it happens, it's on all day in our house, is the Games Done Quick streams, which the Summer Games Done Quick should be coming up sometime here soon. But the only reason that's not on the entire time, like the entire 24 hours, like while we're awake, is there are so many people that are just boring and are not presenters. And this is not a dig against Games Done Quick, but like I really wanted to watch an Ultima run. I think it was like Ultima 7 or something. I love that game, but the person doing it had no personality and just kind of sat there quietly while they played the game, which is really boring.
It's a real skill. I mean, it's not something I ever would like to really get into. I give it a go a couple of times, streaming I streamed some Fast and Furious and some Monster Hunter World. There's a real skill involved. These people who are actually watchable. I don't even mean the people who are like the top tier, brilliant, your ninjas and your whatever else is. I don't think that. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about the people who get to the point where maybe they've got 250 subscribers and manage to make a living out of Twitch. It's a really hard graft, and it's a skill. It's a real skill. So there must be I don't know about your kids, but there must be kids growing up now who think, oh yeah, I want to be a streamer when I grow up, right? That must be a job that people aspire to do. Jesus, it's a hard job to do. This is not playing games for a living. Like, they have to keep up with their schedule, because if they miss a day, then they get drop-offs. Again, not so bad if you're one of the people with like 10,000 subscribers, because that's fine. Mm-hmm. But those people who are earning a decent enough living, $2,500 a month, it's good living, but it's touch and go. You're on the tipping point. They have to put so much effort into this stuff, and it's a real skill. There's an art or a skill to being able to play to a quality that is entertaining while talking to a quality that's entertaining. It's a real skill.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that, like, over time, like, while I love the idea of an antisocial programmer that can't talk or doesn't want to talk to people, like, you have to talk to people, and you have to know how to not necessarily get up on stage and give a speech.
No,
but you have to know how to talk to people, because random people are going to talk to you out on the street, and the people that understand how to talk, I think, are the best. So, like, at Video Games Done Quick, there was a streamer called Carcinogen that did Resident Evil 7. One of the best sit down and watch portions of the Awesome Games Done Quick 2018. He explained what he was doing. He made it fun to watch. He was funny, but he kept it interesting. It wasn't just like, I'm going to go do this now, and then silence for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to go pick this up. It was explaining the mechanics of the game, how it works, like what you're doing in speedrunning. And then Jesus Here's Toast did Bloodborne. He's another Twitch streamer. Excellent. I'm probably the best part of Games Done Quick earlier this year. Because he made it funny. He explained what was going on. He plays the game really, really well. But again, he's entertaining, and he keeps you engaged throughout the whole thing. And I think that's the most important thing. No matter what game you're playing, you have to keep people engaged. And hopefully people are engaged with this podcast.
It's a hard skill. It's a hard skill.
It is.
To talk while doing anything is a difficult skill. I don't know if you've ever done live coding when you're doing your talks. I think I've seen you live coding a few times with your Docker talk, right? But
yeah.
It's difficult enough to be doing live coding while speaking, which is something that we do every day of our working lives. We'll be coding, so doing that while explaining what you're doing verbally, should be a relatively easy thing to do, and it's incredibly difficult.
It's not. So, it's hard. Like that's. Yeah. I love and hate live coding because just the failure point of it. But then I don't want to sit and watch someone type for 2 minutes, not explaining what's going on. You have to keep people engaged while you're doing it. And that, I think, that's what makes a good streamer, is being able to keep you engaged no matter how good or bad the game is. If you're keeping your audience engaged, that's the reason that people are watching you.
I agree.
Okay, so I think there we go. We have our question answered. So, as always, Gary, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Now that we're actually scheduling these and you're showing up.
Ow. I was very ill for a few weeks. That really hurts me. It hit me right in the heart there. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gary. But as always, you can find us online. The podcast itself is at Jerks Talk Games. You can find me as Dragon Man Tank on Twitter and just about everywhere else. Gary is on Twitter as @Gee, @GEEH. You can find this episode as well as all the past episodes with some of our notes at the website at Jerks Talk Games, as well as a link to our Slack channel, which we've been talking every once in a while. So if you enjoy the podcast, come hang by. It's a very low key, easy to get into chat system. You can find us on iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, pretty much wherever podcasts can be found. You can find us, and there's my phone telling me that I have an email. And as always, the best way you can help us, since we don't have a Patreon and we don't take donations, tell a friend, get listeners. If you enjoy this, just say, hey, find them. They're stupid most of the time, but listen, it's a good podcast. So with that, again, Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
To everybody else, don't forget to save your game.